Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Fly With Us podcast. This podcast is bringing the art of conversation, self-love, self-care, mental health care and protection, life lessons, love lessons, and everything in between. Today we have a special guest, Mr. Cool Kim, NY Oil. I'm Lady Bounce.
And I'm A Slate.
All right, so
And
first
I'm
of
Cool
all,
Kim.
yes, you are Cool Kim. So first, before we start, we have to talk about the birds in the background that are
Yeah.
singing. What kind of birds are those?
Oh, you can hear the birds?
Oh yes.
Oh, I'm not even sure what kind of birds. I know I got some like robins, I think. I'm not sure if they're robins or cardinals. And you got some other ones, the ladies blue eggs, they beautiful, you know. So yeah, and it's one thing I love about living here in Augusta, Georgia, man. It's a lot of like this subtle, calm beauty that I'm able to enjoy and vibe on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah, so our lovely partner, the fabulous A Slate, is looking for an eagle feather as she has a fascination with birds. So the first thing that she noticed was the birds singing in the background. She's like, they are
Oh, okay.
beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I love it, sis. It's like there's a couple of different birds that you can hear, like you hear the ones in the background now. We also got a couple of owls, and so now let me show you behind me, right? See, yeah, like right behind me, about right here, there used to be this very huge tree. I'm not sure what kind it was, but I mean, this thing had to be around for at least 50, 60 years, and I mean, there was so much. There's such a habitat in there in terms of birds, but they've recently been doing work to my community, adding roads, adding sidewalks, redoing the roads, redoing the sewer systems and stuff. And unfortunately, that tree was a casualty of that development. But now they've kind of spread out to some of the other foliage, and it's still so you still enjoy the sounds of them just existing, man. Spring is hitting when you start hearing them singing in the morning. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling.
It seems real peaceful. I know when I watch your
Yeah.
morning motivation videos, the first thing that I hear before you ever start talking, I said, he's not gonna get to talk because the birds are talking.
Yeah, right.
So tell us about your morning motivations. Like, what made you start that?
Well, all right. So morning motivations is really just an extension of who I am as an individual. I like to think that I'm a positive person and I got positive things to share, and I like to think that I'm a person that's been through a lot. So I've seen fire and I've seen rain, and so it gives me a good perspective on things. Uh, from a space of understanding versus condemnation, you know, real talk, but still understanding like what's going on and why, I understand like this is what's up. I understand that people are suffering and people are struggling and people are confused and you lack guidance sometimes. And sometimes you don't even need guidance or somebody to teach you anything. Sometimes you just need somebody to have a word that affirms what you already knew for yourself. But hearing somebody else explain, maybe I can articulate it in a way that somebody might not have thought to say it, or I could interpret information that somebody hadn't even seen it that way. And like, wow, I didn't even think about it like that, man. And then it could bring people comfort. And I think ultimately, being a Black liberation-minded individual, I truly think that we can't lose sight of what we're fighting for and why. And so, when I think about what I'm fighting for, ultimately, it's just to be at peace of mind, to be able to be comfortable, hear the birds behind me, to mow my lawn, and like stuff like that, to take care of my garden, those things like that. Those are the things, enjoy my life with my family, and be able to play pickleball, and all the stuff that I want to do. And I want that for everybody else. I want that kind of happiness for other people. So if I figured out was something cool that I could do to engage my fam that enjoy my music and enjoy my overall personality, I thought it was something good that I can contribute to the overall lexicon.
See, that's incredible because one thing that we try to do with our show is that same thing, is pass that positivity along, to pass along that motivation, that like yeah, you can either say it's all bad or you can say it's all good, or you can look at it and go, it's a little bit of both, but I'm gonna survive and I'm gonna make it because I'm gonna make it. Like, I'm determined that no matter what's going on around me, I'm gonna be cool.
That's right.
Me and my family gonna be cool. Like, we're gonna be cool.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And I think that that's one of the most beautiful things that we can do for each other. If there's nothing else that you can offer to your fellow man and woman, a good word go a long way. You know, being able to share a good, positive word, that's got to be worth a lot. So, you know, I'm happy that I'm able to contribute something that can, you know, that inspires some people, or just give them, you know, just a bug out thing. You know, maybe something just to look forward to in the morning. You see a morning motivation, and you just want to see what all I'm gonna get into, and it's just fun. And I like that, man. That's a good vibe. And I appreciate that y'all are doing this as well, because this, you know, especially when we talk about mental health and, you know, emotional health and you know, trying to find peace and joy, how important that is for us as a community when we're constantly being besieged with traumatic information. Like, you see how they constantly always letting us bear witness to our people getting murdered and killed.
Yes.
And we gotta watch that, and you keep getting it shared with you, and now you gotta see this poor brother with this cop's knee on his neck to reinforce your helplessness and to reinforce subservience to an oppressive, you know, society. You know, this is a true service that both of y'all are doing, to try to at least engage the community with love language and peace. So I commend y'all both for being brave enough and committed to us enough and loving on us enough to share your time and create a platform to do this very thing. So congratulations to you for just being awesome.
Thank you. I wanted to, speaking of like our current state and what's going on, being a black man and having a black son, like, how do you communicate that to him? How do you communicate that love and peace to him? I seen you posted a video yesterday regarding that situation in Minnesota, and you didn't point fingers at those that were recording the videos like some people were doing. They were upset. You actually congratulated them for bringing that to our attention.
Yeah, you know, listen, you know, of course, if, you know, a lot of people try to be like, yo, if it's you, would you want them to be recording or would you want them to help? And of course, you would want them to jump up and help and save you. You understand? But you got to be real within yourself. Like, I think sometimes, man, we get too, like, you know, we're too emotionally driven sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with being, to be empathetic or emotional. Right. But if you have no reign or control over it, then it's a short step to irrationality and madness. It's madness to think that just anybody's gonna jump up and become a superhero. You come outside, you go into the boat, you come outside from your house to go to the corner store to go get you a pack of Kool-Aid because you got your dinner's just got out the microwave. You know what I'm saying? Girl just made your dinner, whatever. And you ain't got no juice, so you ran to the store to go get a pack of Kool-Aid and some sugar. And you turn the corner and you see this nightmare. You understand? You know, it's a special kind of individual that's built like that just snap right into action. You know, and it's not, and I can't say that individual is necessarily heroic. In some cases, that may be reckless because, you know, without an infrastructure or institutions to support certain moves, then those moves become reckless. You go in there, you get in the middle of that, you get yourself locked up. Who got bail on it? Who got that bail money? You know what I'm saying? Who got that lawyer money?
Thinking it through, right.
Yeah, you got to think. You got to think these through because we got to be tactical. You know, you ever watch a show and in the show, somebody dies or somebody is in peril of dying, so they send a team of like 20 people to go rescue that person. By the end of the movie, 19 of them is dead. You know what I'm saying? Just to rescue that one person. And it's like, wait a minute, that doesn't really add up. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be tactical when we think about our people. It's like, hold on. You know, we don't want to jeopardize 19 lives, 20 lives, you know what I'm saying, in the name of trying to save one. if we know that saving at this point we're not prepared to do the work to save one, and that's cold comfort. What I'm saying, like and it's foul, kind of. I don't. Me saying it, I can hear. The more radicalized part of me say, "Man, it sounds like some sucker business, man. What you talking about?" But it's about thinking it through and being rational here, because again, we reacting to what's happening in the moment, but we're not putting plans and setting up safeguards for the future.
Right.
We're gonna lose more. More people are gonna die this way. This is a fact. So no matter how many cities they burn down and how much carrying on they do, this is not, because the people that are doing this are looking for this war. They're fine with us doing that because they intend on doing more killing, and this is just reflective of that. But for us to be able to take a practical approach to it and be like, this is a problem, and now we're going to have to get real serious about this. And how serious are we going to be? Well, one, we're going to start from a comprehensive point of view. Like, we're not going to try to take on a white racist power structure today. What we're going to do first is we're going to commit to going home and raising our children. We're going to commit to making sure they're educated as best as we could possibly educate them, and not just in the school system, but practical information like how to do their taxes, how to save money, how to save, buy real estate, how to fix a car, how to build their own house, or how to plant food, things like that. So that one, if we calling these people oppressors or they're oppressive, then how we sound calling them that and looting their stores, but we still eating the food that they give us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we still got to invite them into our house to fix the stuff that we need fixing, or we still got to rely on them to do the things that that don't add up.
So we can't go fight war if we're not even self-sufficient, right? Or can we can't even self-sustain.
Yeah. So and then that makes sense. Like, before anything else, if you create a system of self-sufficiency, if you talk about boycotting, boy, you can boycott the hell out of something, right? If you're able to just be like, we don't got to go in these supermarkets no more. And in a moment, I'll walk y'all over to I'm just letting the phone charge a little bit, but I'll walk y'all over around so you can see the garden. And, I'm eating collard greens from out my backyard right now.
I love it. See, and here we got some delicious. Here we have a couple of community gardens, but they're not as popular and big as we would hope them to be. And then, like, a lot of the areas where we live, I don't even know that our soil is good enough to even grow a garden. Because where I live, where do
you live? If you don't mind me asking.
A garden wouldn't survive here. It wouldn't.
Where do you live?
I live in Dayton, Ohio. And we have some of the richest soil, they say, on the planet in Ohio. Mm-hmm. But here in my backyard, there's low lighting. There's an abandoned house. There's a lot of stray animals around. So the conditions don't warrant.
Yeah,
really.
But I'm gonna tell you, I want to say to you, sis, that may not be the case. There's so many ways to develop your land. A lot of low shade, shade, crops that can function in low sun or not a lot of sun. So even if you have a shaded space, they can still maintain and they'll grow. In terms of enriching your soil, get you some wiggler worms and all them grass clippings and stuff like that. You let them sit in a pile. You create your own mulch. Not your own mulch, but your own what you call that?
Compost.
Yeah, compost. Thank you. As I'm still learning too. You know what I mean? But like I'm because where I live is off of a riverbank off the CSRA, and this soil is clayish soil, like Georgia clay, and it's river silt too, though. So it's very dense, but it is abundant. However, it's also adjacent to the DuPont chemical plant. This development that I live in. I live actually on a street called DuPont Street, and it was developed by the DuPonts. So there's a potential that there may be chemical in the land. So in case there is, we made raised beds. So we create raised beds for ourselves. So now that'll diminish the amount of let me see something real quick while I'm talking here. Let me see how much charge I got on this battery if I can run over there real fast. But we had a raised bed. So that what that does is that eliminates the critters. So we don't have rabbits jumping in our joint. We're not having deers or nothing come through. 'Cause I never seen no deer, nothing like that around here. Only other thing we had to worry about is the birds, and the birds don't really get at no hassle because we're about to create a condition for them to eat. And raccoons would be an issue maybe because they very functional, and squirrels could be an issue because they climb up on stuff. But we haven't had that. You put the little mesh cloth over that, and you could cover your food and get it popping. And it's a beautiful thing to grow food from your own home. Walk out the backyard, and then you grabbing your tomatoes out your what? You gonna go grab? We gonna grab some tomatoes out the backyard? Taking my salad from out the backyard? Wait, what? Yeah, all right, come on with it then. What you talking about? Let's get it in. But I'm just saying that there's solutions to every problem, and we should engage those things, man, and be solution-driven people. So when we do discover things that are obstacles, find ways to win, so that winning becomes a habit again. See, right now we getting a deluge of losing. It keeps showing you us losing.
Yeah.
And you see enough of you losing,
you start to
you're gonna feel like a loser. Yeah.
Well, I know one
So
thing one thing that I did was a win. We took rotten potatoes one time and threw them in the backyard, dug them down, and about almost a year, it took about 6 to 8 months. We had more potatoes. So
I know that's right.
So we did do
I know
that.
And let me ask you this: did they taste extra special, or did they taste extra special? Come on, now.
They were extra earthy.
They were really extra earthy.
And they were really small. But it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, that to me, man, we grew, the first thing we really grew effectively were tomatoes and cucumbers and peppers. And I wasn't a vegetable dude like that heavy. I could enjoy vegetables as a part of my meal, but I wasn't a salad guy. You know what I'm saying?
So how do you go from? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, how do you go from hip hop to being a gardener and a guy that's loving to listen to the birds?
Well, I don't think that I ever wasn't that. So I didn't so much go from that as much as it's just I had the opportunity to engage it more. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we are so many things. Yeah, Cool Kim was the Earth brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, Nah, but I love a lot of stuff. I have a wide range of passions and talents and interests. So I like a lot of things. I'm fortunate to be very open-minded. So, and then if let's say that I detect like you have a great joy for something, you're gonna excite me about that thing, because I hear you talking about. I'm like, shit, like, right, let me tell you about that. I'm interested, because life is dope. You know what I'm saying? Living is amazing, and you know what I'm saying. So it's like I love it. I love everything. Like everything that and there's so much more that I want to do. So and I want to see people get fired up for that. Like, we gonna live. Like, there's a lot of bad stuff happening, but I think a lot of it is worse because we're not living in the midst of it. Like, we're just in a struggle. And so you're struggling, you're having these challenges, the overall climate of the world is sour, and now you just feel terrible. But what if you could just change some of that condition? What if instead of just living, or just surviving and getting by, you can fit a little living in there, you know what I mean? A little, instead of having these weekends, these WEAK ends, you start having you some WEEK ends, you know what I mean? Some strong ends. Where, you're going out there and you're gonna go to the where, we gonna ride around and just, fantasize about the houses that we wish we gonna buy one day, or we're gonna look at these buildings and make pretend what we would do if we ever could get our hands on something like that. And let me tell you something, as far-fetched as that sounds, and it's exactly what my wife and I did when we moved down here, like the first year we moved down to Augusta, we would go downtown and we would just walk through it, like that. We was looking at different buildings, like, yo, what would you do with this building? Yo, I do this. That's a game me and her play. Like, I would do this. I'll put this. Like, so we do this whole fantasy window shopping thing with different real estate. And we had looked at this building. We was like, yo, what would you do with this building? And she's like, yo, I put a boutique in there. Boom, boom. I was like, what? I said, yo, look, they got it's for rent or for sale. Let's see what they talking about, just on a whim. Yo, son was like, listen, if you willing to hook it up, I'll let you go in there. You go in there, you can start working. I'll give you the code. You can get in there now. That's how I pay. I $700,000 a month. What's up? Next thing you know, we had a boutique called QP's Dollhouse.
I know, right?
Yes.
And then next to there was another building that was
available, and I ended up turning it into a bar called Flow.
I was just about to say that. Like, wait a minute. So you guys had the clothing thing going, and I was like,
hold on, sis, because my sound went out. Hold on a second, first. My son tried to call me just now. Let me see. You guys can hear me though, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
And I can't hear y'all. That's not cool.
Okay.
Oh man. 2. Hey, can y'all say something? Let me see if I can hear y'all.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? It's like the Verizon commercial.
You know what? I'm hearing y'all through my phone. All right, I got it. I think I can.
Okay.
All right.
So I was definitely a fan of QP's Dollhouse, and I was watching and digging it all, especially digging the drinks from Flow. That was incredible. I was like, that is a pretty drink. I don't know what it tastes like, but it looks pretty. And it was like pretty colors, and there was cotton candy on one, and there was something smoking on a drink. I was like, I'm going to Georgia just so I can get a fancy drink, because we don't have nothing like that here.
Right.
I got issues. It's okay. I'm working through it.
No, you don't. We like all the pretty colors.
Right. I like all the pretty colors.
All right, I think I'm good now. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, you're good.
You're
okay,
right.
So you just mentioned, Miss Sharpton, Miss Artina, who lets you go out dressing like a slut, but we'll leave that alone.
She gotta go by QP. If she find out y'all calling her Artina, she gonna bust a gasket.
Okay, tell her.
She might not people that got a name. She don't want everybody to call her by that name. She's like, nah, Tina or QP.
that's how we both feel. We definitely understand that, because that's how we both feel about our names. Like, when people use our real names, I'm like, you must not know me because you use my real name.
Yeah. That's what.
Okay, so you mentioned QP. Can you tell us, what are some of the secrets that you guys are using for longevity in your relationship, with everything that is set out to attack, Black love and Black relationships? Mm-hmm. How do y'all keep it together?
Well, all right. So it ain't easy at all. Like, I don't want to give off the impression. A lot of people give off them impressions like it just be a walk in the park. I would say that the way I hear people talk nowadays, most people would not have been able to reach the point that my wife and I reached in our relationship, because, them first 10, 15 years, not cute, you know what I'm saying? And it was right with a lot of betrayal and hurt on both sides, you know what I'm saying? In a lot of ways, man, you know what I'm saying? Betrayal and hurt don't just be infidelity. It's, screwing up money, it's not listening to one another, not honoring each other as intelligent individuals that have some sort of thought and perspective on things. Being young and immature, having children before you have a sense of self, those things were difficult, and they were huge obstacles. They were almost insurmountable. And there are enough times that I think if we weren't so financially tied together and all of that sort of thing, if there was a way out, we might not have made it as far as we did. But my wife really loves me a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I'm very thankful to discover how much I love her too. So, we reached a point in a place where we're just like, that's my best friend to hang out with. You know what I'm saying? Only person that compete with her is my son in terms of hanging out with. You know what I'm saying? And my boy E, that's my other best dude to hang out with. But it's not perfect still either. Like, because we argue and fuss all the time about stuff. No, not all the time, to be honest. That's the thing, and it don't be like that no more, because, we don't argue for anger sometimes. Sometimes it's like, yo, fam, I need you to understand this because this is important. And we had them differences of opinion, but ultimately we recognize that we after the same thing, which is to be happy, man. And I say this, man, like, a lot of the difficulty I had with my wife early on was because I failed to manage my relationship with her effectively. And that had a lot to do with being young. I was big time famous at the time. Young, money, got a little money, handsome, traveling the world, famous. Like, that's not no real combination to have to be in no relationship with no woman. Like, that's not a good lick, because you're not gonna do right. It's too many opportunities to make mistakes. But providing a woman with assurance and, the confidence of that comes with the security of knowing that, my man loves me, he with me, riding with me, and, I'm good. That the feeling of feeling good, man, that shows on your face. And I neglected that for a long time, man. You know what I'm saying? And I regret that. And a lot of times now I get on the nerves because I'm always like, yo, how you feeling? You happy? Is your life happy? Yeah, I'm happy. I'm like, I'm just making sure. Like, I always want to know that she happy, because I wanted to be happy, man. That's my power, man. And I think that coming to terms with that truth. Something that my friend said to me one time too. He said, I was telling him about, like, whatever, I was having some difficulty with her at one point. I was, mad at her, whatever. Yo, she keep doing this, that, and the third. Man, I should dip on her, man. I should dip on her. You know what I'm saying? But, man, he's like, but you love your wife, son. He's like, yo, you love your wife. You're supposed to love your wife, kid. Right. And when he said that, man, it just resonated with me. You're supposed to love your wife.
Right.
It was, you know what I'm saying? It was such a elementary thing to say, right? Yeah, but when you think about it, it's like, word, I'm supposed to love my wife. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to love this person. I'm supposed to dote on this part. This one, I'm not playing myself. This is not, speak of the angel. I won't say the devil. Here she comes. She come around the corner right now. But that was profound. You're supposed to love your wife. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I was like, word, man. And that kind of was one of the, and I wasn't all the way there yet. It took many, many years till I would be where I'm at now. But that was one of those things that was the beginning of, come around this way and say hi. That was one of the things that was the beginning of me. Hold on, they can't see you yet. There you go. Say hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
They was just asking what was some of the things that what was the question? You asked the question again?
So our Zoom is about to run out in like 30 seconds. So let's pause, and I'm going to send you another link, because this is good, because now we got QP in the mix. I got to hear from her. QP came in the building. So give me a second. Okay. We're going to set up and do a part 2, because this is just too incredible to stop. Okay?
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
All right, hit me right back.
You ever gone to the shops where you've heard obscenity, seen illegal gambling? Well, not at Headliners. This modest shop sits at 729 East Main Street in Trotwood, Ohio.
At Headliners, you will find a clean, loving atmosphere that will put you and your family at ease. They specialize in afros, fades, and tapers on all hair types and styles.
Beards, facials, eyebrow arching, and ask for Jose. He keeps Lady Bounce's eyebrows together.
He does indeed. They also do hair and scalp treatments, razor lines, and razor shaves. Their barbers are there and ready to assist you.
Hours are Tuesday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Closed Sunday and Monday.
Headliners Barbershop, where the fellas are ready to serve you.
Walk-ins are welcome.
Call 837-3131 to book your appointment today.
All right, so we're going to pop back in. Thanks, everybody, for staying with us and your patience. Before we jump back in, Mrs. A. Slate has our Mindfulness Minute for this episode.
Yeah. So cool, Kim, you were saying a little bit earlier, you were saying something about you seen your wife coming. You said, oh, I almost said speaking of the devil, I meant speaking of an angel. And then you was like, your friends was like, oh, wait, you love her? You like, of course I love her. Typically, that's not considered masculine. You know, that's not bravo macho masculinity. You know, that like you soft. But no, this week our mindfulness minute for the week is positive masculinity, like Cool Kim displayed a little earlier in our conversation. I envision a new masculinity based on wisdom rather than domination. I support men in the quest to find positive outlets for emotional expression that will allow the transformation of human relations. Traditional masculinity boasts braggadocious talk and indiscriminate violence about the dignified speech and loving stance of positive masculinity. Men, especially men in positions of privilege, have a lot of learning to do in the coming century. This learning centers on the concept of honor, which Cool Kim did earlier when his wife was approaching. He honored her by saying, speaking of an angel. Men need to learn to honor both their own feelings and the divine feminine in their lives. This has nothing whatever to do with perpetuating patriarchy, but with building diverse communities of loving concern. A sacred masculinity must emerge that is based on wisdom rather than domination. Do not suppress the emotions. Allow them to come out into the light. Honor and respect any feelings that arise without necessarily magnifying or reinforcing them. This week's Mindfulness Minute is showing, displaying, honoring, and acknowledging positive masculinity. Shout out again to Cool Kim and QP.
That's right.
Okay, so before we ended our first segment, I asked you about the secrets of longevity and making it work. And as someone, you know, myself who got married very young, I got married at 21 and had a baby in the same year. And I've been married to the same man for 20 years who was also, you know, in the music industry. So there's lots of temptation, there's lots of immaturity. You know, we both had to do a lot of growing up. So when you were talking about that, like, I felt that. I was like, oh my God, I feel every ounce of that. I felt every ounce of that. And there are times where, you know, it's the love isn't always there, you know, on both sides. And so I've always been thankful that between the two of us, we both never checked out at the same time. And so sometimes he may check out.
I like that you said that, though. That was important, that you didn't check out at the same time, because there are times when one checks out, the other one's still there, but one kind of checked out. And, you know, so it's like a testament to how deep it goes when it's like, yo, that was grounds for the checkout right there, right? And it's like, but so somebody who just loved so much and held on long enough for what was only was a season's feeling to not last for a lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you might have been feeling like it's time to dip for a season, but it's a good thing that either one of y'all had held on long enough for that thing to not last forever. That's really important, because that's, I think, the thing that we share that as well, points when one or the other was ready to check out, because, you know, something was just too much. But what do you got any thoughts on that, Pam?
So QP doll, I have to ask, as a wife of somebody who was publicly in the industry, how did you handle that? Like, how do you keep yourself in check without, you know, stepping out of character, stepping off of your square? Because some of these women are quite disrespectful, and my husband is that nowhere near on the scale that your husband is. But I have dealt with some very disrespectful fans, if you will.
Well, I mean, it really just kind of depends on how you're approaching it. You know that your partner's in the public eye, and a lot of times, you know, there's always going to be that woman that thinks it's greener on our side than it is on theirs. And they always going to try you. It just depends on, really, for me, it depends on what angle you're going to try me from. Are we going to be ladies and talk about this? Or are we both going to be disrespectful? Because even though I'm the nicest person in the world, I know how to pull disrespectful out, and it works pretty well for me. So, I mean, it just really depends on how we would approach this thing. I mean, a lot of times, let's just assume she don't know that this person is married or has a partner or whatever, which is kind of far-fetched, but you would try to, me personally, I would try to be like, look, you know, we got our situation going or whatever. But if they coming at you talking about, I don't know what you into, and, you know, he up for grabs, then, you know, disrespect will go both ways. So it just depends on how they want to approach the situation. We could do it however they like. It's like Walmart or Burger King. Have it your way. So, whatever way you want to have it, I got that for you. I mean, I'm good with that.
You know, it seemed like to me though, like, you know, from my perspective, you know, there's two parts of it. You know, there's what the outside person is trying to get off, or might even be getting off. You feel me? And then it's what my wife has decided her life is gonna be despite that. You understand? Like, nah, that's my husband. And that's that. And I'm not, you know, how that song go? They say, let no man tear us under.
Oh, put us under, yeah.
Yeah, whatever, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, where she like, yo, I'm not, you can't get that. You can't get that, and she's saying that to her, like, shorty, you can't get that, and she's saying to me, nah, you ain't getting that. That's you coming home. The bottom line, that's that.
You have to think about it like this. You put a lot of work into your relationship, some good, some bad, but the work is work. You know what I'm saying? You can go to work and do a terrible job, but you still work, and they still gonna pay you. You put a lot of work into your relationship, so you could either just be like, you know what, forget this, I'm gonna just go about my business, or you could think about it like, yo, I put my work in there. You don't get to take away all the work that I put in. You don't get to pick up where I left off, because I ain't leaving off. So, you know, go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So,
and I think, and just to add on to that too, you know, on a very keep it real level, you know, yo, you know, you get with somebody, like you say, 21. I was like, what, 19, 20 when I was
19 and I was 23?
22, because you're 3 years older than me. So, yeah, he was 22. So, 19, she's 22. You know, and at the time, my wife, you know, then girlfriend, you know, well, shoot, at that point, in my mind, you was just my buddy. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, friend with privileges, everything. You know, but you know, at that point, and it's funny because in the first album we did, there's a song called "Feelings," and I had wrote this line: "I dig you a lot, but I'm not in love yet. Still, when this interlude ends, I won't forget. You make me feel it." That was actually a rhyme that was. What was Diane? What's Diane? What you over there doing? What you got? Oh, what you cut? You cut the vine?
I couldn't take it.
You couldn't take it?
My neighbor cut vines and
you couldn't take the side of it no more? Yeah, oh, see, you too good to us, man. See, too good. I'm like, what's she over there doing? She about to cut our cable. Yeah, we are. I know that's right. Thanks, pal. Pardon my neighbor, you know, she came over and cut one of the vines that was climbing up our electrical joint because my wife was allergic to ivy, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
But what I was saying is that, you know, something that, you know, sometimes you got to do the knowledge to is the fact that, you know, I was young is what I was getting at. And there was a lot of life in front of me, you know what I mean? And, you know, you got to keep it real within yourself sometimes. Like, you know, a lot of how we deal in relationships is based on this ego that is perpetuated by what society tells us a relationship is meant to be about. You know what I mean? But you young cat doing your thing, you know what I'm saying? In this reality, you know, we're not dealing in the olden days, we're just dealing in modern times. You know, you got to have a reasonable expectation in that relationship. You know what I'm saying? Once you evolve to the point that relationship is a full-on commitment, then you can have other expectations. But a building, to build something requires displacement and destruction. You're going to build a house, you're going to dig deep to build the foundation. Everything that lived in that area got to go now because you're building the house. That's a process, and that do create disruption. It's not just as simple as that, you know what I'm saying? And then even once the house is built, you may find yourself besieged with all kind of natural pests and vermin, because that's where that house is built on, and it takes time for you to master that. And a real relationship is not as simple as, oh, he did that, girl, it's time to go. Or, oh, yo, son, he did that, son, yo, she did that. Oh, she tried to play you, son, you need to. Nah, some of that is like, yo, this is how it is. We growing, we gonna make mistakes because we still human. Like, you gotta respect the human condition. And yo, it can't always be about how you feel about what happens. Sometimes it's like, yo, the human condition predicates that I understand what it is that's happening around me, not necessarily to me, because it's not what's happening. It's not necessarily about me as much as it's about that person and what they're experiencing and what they're seeing and the journey that they have to go through to become the person that they're going to become to in life. And I'm not going to abandon her because she's made mistakes in life. You understand? Right. And I'm thankful that she didn't abandon me when I made mistakes in life, or did things that, not mistakes because they weren't mistakes. Because whatever you did it because you did it with intent, right? It's not mistakes. It's you made choices that were harmful to the sanctity of the relationship. You know what I'm saying? But you think about it like, because most times when we talk about the problems in relationships, most people discussing cheating. You understand? Right. When you think about that kind of thing, it's blind. Okay, cool. When you think about that, but there's more kind of ways to cheat. You cheat somebody, like you could cheat somebody out of their peace of mind.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Cheat yourself out of your peace of mind.
Yeah, you could cheat somebody out of opportunities. You can cheat somebody out of any number of things that could be extremely harmful, and those things can have an impact that is that you can't really figure it out. You don't see that, yo, wow, I didn't realize that in doing these things, I hurt this person, and there was an effect beyond, what I did. You know what I'm saying? So, you cheat somebody out of their finances because you irresponsible, or you cheat somebody out of their time because you try to waste it because you want to just do what you want to do, or you stingy with something. Those are all things that create a problem. You know what I'm saying? It's my daughter Nay right here.
Hello. Many needs are here.
Hello.
And my son Bilal right here. What's up, Nate? What's happening?
Hello.
Love you too, pal. But y'all came in and tried to harass me into going to play, shoot?
No.
Oh, okay.
I want them to. I'm on a hunt for this specific refrigerator that's on sale, and so I need my son to take me to the store to see if they got it.
Why don't you make a move and see what happens? Call me if you work out.
Thank you for joining us. Go get that.
Yeah, this refrigerator is a big deal.
This refrigerator is a big deal.
It's a big deal. We could get our hands on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one with the
family hub
with
the computer in it.
Let me do it right.
With the ice in the door and the water.
No, with the computer on the door. Forget the ice. I got ice.
This joint right here. Boom. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
See that? With the screen right there where you could just tell it, I need more juice. I need some toast. I want some toast. I want some bread. And you gonna give it to me, or I'm gonna bust you in your head. I gotta put you in on that one, B. You're gonna cry when you hear that. But yeah, so I shall make a move and then just hit me and let me know what's good.
I don't know. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You need to send out life. What you talking?
I don't need to look at the picture.
When you
What?
oh no, she taking a picture.
Oh my dad. You on the lawn every day. You don't even mow it. You lawn the lawn every day.
I lawn the lawn every day.
Yeah, you lawning the lawn out that lawn, boy. I tell you.
I got no wind out here, yeah. But but you see, like, and that's another thing. Like, we fortunate because we as a family, we real tight. You know what I'm saying? Even though, you know, we argue hard, you know what I'm saying? All that, you know what I mean? You know, it's never like that's to not, you know, add that into the scenario is not real.
See you later, guys.
Tia, thank you for joining us.
I'm bailing on you. I gotta go find my refrigerator, but we'll have a whole another time to interview all day if you want.
Oh yes, definitely.
So, you know, yeah, like, you know, it's you know, we have a tight family. We've been through a lot. You know, we've seen some heavy shorts, big time, man. You know what I'm saying? Took some real L's, you know what I mean? But we win big too, man. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, but that's, you know, the acceptance of that. And like I said, I see a lot of people when they converse about relationships and marriage, you know, they so quick to bail. Like we talking so much from a wisher and a would, you know what I'm saying? Versus like, yo, nah, you know, it could happen, fam. Like you could not be on point. Like you could do things and stuff happens. It's like, all right, something happened. You know what I'm saying? Like this went wrong. Like, all right, you messed that up. I'm gonna bring understanding to the equation because, you know, the big picture says that it ain't about that, man. It's about something else. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
I was having a conversation with my coworker yesterday about, you know, relationships and she's, you know, divorced and it was a very ugly divorce and they have, you know, 2 children between them and trying to raise the kids and everything. And so we got on the subject, of course, of infidelity because like you know, we're saying that most people think that, you know, infidelity is the worst thing you could do in a relationship, but there's other things you could do. Like to me, that would be far worse, you know, than that. And so I told her, I said, you know, there might have been some infidelity there, but there's levels to it. She was like, no, for me, it was one time, and then my family said this, and they said that, and then I left, and then we got a divorce, and I'm like, wow. So
it's a bad look.
Right. So for, you know, for something, I mean, and cheating is not trivial by far. But if there's worse things that somebody can do, you ended your whole relationship and you broke down a whole foundation for a 5-minute whatever.
There's something that wasn't real like that. It was like, yo, and then, you know, listen, here's the thing, you know, and then when we talk about cheating, it's always kind of spoken from like the dudes is out there cheating, the women be out there cheating too, like the women's cheating. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, fam, like, come on, so stop acting like, you know, you ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like, you might not have had a little situation. You just ain't get caught. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't get caught because you was so smart. You didn't get caught because the dude is going to be, whoever you doing with is going to be compliant. He don't mind being in position. He fine because he don't want really nothing from you more than what you are willing to give to you. Now, the dude, on the other hand, he dealing with a woman. The woman might, you know, she might, if it get good on her, it's more likely that the woman be like, no, I want something more than just this tryst. You know what I mean? And so it become a little more difficult for the dude to manage that scenario. You know, again, the point of it is just there's a lot of ways to betray your partner. And, you know, and there's a lot of ways that you can create conditions that create other problems. You know what I'm saying? You know, when we talk about men infidelity, it's their dogs. If we talk about female infidelity, then we're willing to discuss the fact that she might have been drove to that. Right. You know, we're willing to discuss, you know, the fact that, yo, the man's behavior with her, he neglected her and he did this, that, and the third, and then put her in a space, you know, that to a place of vulnerability for another man to prey upon her. And it's like, nah, I can't, you know, I know better than that. Like, I reject that discussion because I understand sex better than that. Meaning to say, I understand that women are not getting screwed. You know what I mean? Women are being serviced. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, to me, I always thought, yo, I could never be in that submissive position to be laid back and somebody doing whatever they're doing to me. But then one time I thought about it. I was like, yo, this is like getting a massage. Hold on. You servicing her, like, you know, dude in there working his best. You like it? Come on, girl. How you feel? You enjoy yourself? You doing everything you can do. After he's done, he's like, how was it? How was my performance? Did you enjoy yourself? Why? Because he's servicing. Right. So women is not out there getting tricked out of being, you know, they not having infidelity because they getting tricked out of it because they man just putting, nah, they willing and they with it too. And it's for the same reasons that a man does it. You understand? And sometimes, you know, when these things happen, we got to look at what's happening and say, yo, wow, wait a minute. You know, I didn't hear you when you were telling me that I'm hurting you when I did this, and you felt abandoned when I did that, or you felt slighted when I put this or that in front of you. And I didn't realize in doing that, I opened the door for you to do things that you shouldn't have done, and maybe you wouldn't have done if, you know, you was feeling good, you was feeling comfortable and secure. And that alludes back to what I was saying earlier about as I grew up and understood the value and the importance of creating a secure environment for my wife so that she can grow and be happy and be good and serve my needs better. You know what I'm saying? Versus, you know, and because when I was listening to what Sis was saying earlier in her build before she dipped, I didn't agree fully with what she was saying about wisdom without dominance, because I think dominance is a part of a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Just like obey is a part of a relationship. You know, when we have our vows, we say to honor and obey. And if you say that to him, like, yo, you intend on obeying me? I ain't obeying nobody. I don't obey my father. It's like, sis, you know, obey come in a lot of forms. Obey comes in the form of commands like duck, watch out, move. You know what I'm saying? You need to obey. I obey my wife because she got wisdom born. You know what I'm saying? She's an intelligent woman. She got practical insights on things that, stuff she said turned out right. So I learned the value of obeying somebody. You know, so, you know, there's points and spaces and places where one will dominate. One will be the person that have to lead that and be like, yo, and you got to be like, yo, you got this. I put my trust in you because I can. Because you got me. See, even in like in a dom sub relationship, right? Which is not, you know, which I'm not speaking directly to my relationship, but I have a interesting past. So in a dom sub relationship, you know, they often say that the sub is the one that's really in power because the sub is the person that is allowing the dom to have power. You understand? That dominant person is not dominant just because they just smooth coming in there beating something up. They're dominant because that the person that's subservient is willing and allowing that person to be what they are because that person serves something that they want met. You understand? My wife appreciates that I'm strict. She said, I was like, yo, what do you, she say? I was like, you love me? And she's like, yeah, I love you the most. And I was like, why you love me the most? And she was like, she said, one of the things she said, because you're strict. And, you know, she said, you're nice and you're kind and you loving me and all that stuff, but you're strict sometimes. And I listened to that. I was like, wow, that's an interesting thing to note in why you love me, that I'm strict with you. But when you're like, yo, I want that discipline. I'm not trying to be screwing up, and I know that there's places that I'm weak. And I'm happy to have somebody that's going to call me on that and keep me on point. Like, yo, I need to be on point. I'm trying to win. And sometimes you need somebody's, you know, external energy to get you there. That's what the teamwork of it is. What being in that team is about. It's not about one person always got, or we in total equality and everything. We can't be in total equality and everything because both of us don't know everything like that together. Some of you know more than I know on certain stuff, you know?
Right. Well, and you know, relationships are, you know, they're supposed to be equal. And then I hear people say, oh, it's 50-50 this and 50-50 that. And I'm like, nah, it's supposed to be 100-100. If you're putting in 100, I'm going to put in 100. And it's going to make us better together. And then in terms of, you know, you guys have children, we have children. We owe it to our children to have this relationship where they see us love it out, hug it out, fight it out in whatever form the fight takes. We owe it to them to show them that, because they're watching us, and how what they get from us in our relationship is how they're going to think, act, and perform in their own relationships. So for those couples who say, oh, we never fight. Well, you're not teaching your children anything then, because fighting is okay if you know how to fight. You got to fight fair. You got to fight with, you know, rules involved and the other person's feelings involved. So when you say stuff like, oh, well, we don't never fight in front of the children. Well, those poor children. Because then they don't learn how to deal with conflict in an intimate, you know, relationship in an intimate way.
That's right.
Which makes them to be well-rounded children. So, and speaking of children, your son just recently recovered from coronavirus.
Yes.
How was that for you guys? I know I watched your live videos and I watched his live videos. You know, can you talk to us about that?
You know, he got hit with that joint, and then it was like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it was scary, and you are confronted with how. Hold on, I'm sorry, somebody looked like that. I'm sorry, y'all. Somebody's. Well, it's like Anyway, I'm sorry. It's like it was scary because I didn't expect that. I felt like he would be the person that would end up dealing with it because he was the one moving around so much. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so what eventually would happen is when he was like, "Yo, I think I got that," you know what I'm saying, or whatever. It was a situation where it was like, yo, I was fortunate because of the relationships I had with people in, the conscious movement, Black liberation, and all that kind of stuff, left me well prepared to address it. So I didn't address it from a place of fear. If you recall in many of my videos, I was, I'm like, yo, we about to take this thing down. Like, we gonna whoop coronavirus ass today. Like, we not taking no loss. You understand? You know what I mean?
Definitely know that your thinking has a lot to do with your physical healing, and a lot of people don't realize is that you can will yourself well, you can think yourself into wellness, along with the things you do physically that are proactive, exercising, eating right, building your immune system and stuff like that. But a lot of that still has to do with what's going on up here.
That's a fact, and we had the mentality for winning. We had the information on what to do to win. And so we were able and capable of winning. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what we did. You understand? It went smooth. Pardon me, I don't mean to keep looking around. Like, I know it look a little bugged out, but somebody supposed to be in my
you
joint.
Okay?
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I only got, a couple more things and we'll be wrapping up and I'll let you get, on with your day. But in honor of you being the first man ever on the Fly With Us podcast.
I'm the first dude?
You're the first.
Oh, man, I feel like I ain't even doing a good enough job. I should have wore a suit.
Oh, stop. So, in honor of that, what is your favorite thing to do for self-care? And that's going to be our self-care assignment for this week.
Okay. So I'm going to give y'all the self-care thing you saying. I should give y'all one?
Yeah. What's your favorite thing to do for self-care?
Yo, there's times to absolutely indulge yourself in whatever it is you feel like doing. You heard? It's times I smooth binge watch anime. You heard? Like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even second guessing it. I'll be there or 2 deep. I spend a week on anime. Like, what? It's never nothing. You know what I'm saying? And that's just that. Cause I want to indulge myself. It's all right to take care of yourself. It's all right to, be lazy.
Yes.
But you should do it so that you don't overdo it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get so strict about certain stuff that you don't indulge yourself, and then what ends up happening is that then you overindulge. So you trying to be on a diet, you're not going to eat. I'm not going to eat no food or this and that and the third or whatever. And then, you done did it for 3-4 days, but you done overdid it to the point now the 5th day, you're pigging out. And it's like, you backslide so far, you can't, you know what I'm saying? But then there is, when you balance it, like, nah, you know what I'm saying? I just ain't going to reduce my portions. All right, I mean, a little cheat meal, love is love, everything is good, it's no problem, you know what I'm saying? Then that's what's, that's a good lick, you know what I'm saying?
I like, That I say that all the time. I'm always telling people, I'm a little, chunkier than I would like to be, but I'm not going to deprive. Yeah, I'm not going to deprive myself of food. I'm not going to deprive myself of the things that I enjoy that make me feel good, that are, self-care-ish. I'm just going to do that in moderation. I'm not going to eat 5 Reese cups. I might just eat the 2. I don't need the king size one today. But in doing those little things, it does feel good. And my favorite way to self-care is eating my favorite meal, which is chicken and macaroni and cheese, which is not the best, but for my self-care, for my sanity, I gotta have my favorite meal because I feel better when I do. I'm a better me when I'm eating bad food. No.
Hey, listen. Sometimes you gotta get your, you gotta get your inoculation.
Right.
You understand? You gotta get that done, or you will bug out. Well, then you say, all right, well, what's my balance? My balance is, I'm gonna make sure I got I'm gonna make sure I do a little extra lap around the block. We're gonna walk around the block real quick to get that. That's how I'm gonna burn it off. You know what I'm saying? But, I'm not gonna put myself, I'm not gonna deny myself, my joy.
I like it. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. So for our brain science for this episode, it's your brain on dopamine, the science of motivation. Motivation happens when your dopamine spikes because you anticipate something important is about to happen. Here's how it affects your productivity. The brain can be trained to feed off bursts of dopamine sparked by rewarding experiences like chicken and macaroni and cheese and Reese cups.
And anime.
You create the dopamine environment and your brain does the rest. So here's simple ways to get the dopamine flowing in your brain. First, record your small accomplishments. Think of it as a digital done list. Things you've done well, put them on a list somewhere where you can see it. Share the results of your accomplishments with those around you that will celebrate you.
That's right.
Stay on task with your micro deadline. So if you set a deadline for yourself, always make sure you meet it, because that's the best form of self-care. It's taking care of your own business, right? Focus on how great you'll feel when your project is complete. Test out new ways to do an old thing. Take a 10-minute nap. Save that, okay?
Oh, I tell you, boy, a nap. Whew. That's gold nowadays, huh?
And for you, as you've picked up, a new exercise regimen, a great way to build up your dopamine is to get moving. So even a 20-minute walk will yield positive results. And if you opt for a short, high-intensity workout, it can propel the dopamine in your brain to new heights. When you improve your health, you improve your capacity to achieve and reap the rewards. So this week, we're going to increase our dopamine. We're going to indulge in our own self-care, which Mr. Cool Kim said, your favorite thing to do. So whatever that favorite thing is for you to do, we want you to do that. I want you to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. And you can always email us at flywithusla@gmail.com.
That's right.
Mr. NY Oil, QP. We got to thank you, and you definitely have to come back. This conversation could go on and on and on.
Oh, yeah. I definitely want to come back because, I want to just, apologize to all the viewers because I did get distracted in the last couple of minutes because somebody rolled up on my joint. We don't be playing like that. You like, yo, hold up, what's going on? You know what I mean? It's that, you get real protective about your property. But
Definitely.
I definitely look forward to coming back and chopping it up with you. There's so many things I do want to, especially with the platform that you have and what you're talking about. There's a lot of things that I want to share with you guys that I've discerned over the years. And so I really look forward to coming back and chopping it up with you again. So anytime that you want to discuss any matter with me, you let me know. And I'm always going to support. I want to shout out Jay, of course, because he has been an unyielding supporter of my morning motivations and sharing that positive energy. And, it was, he got on it without being asked to do it. He did it because he felt it was something that needed doing. And he was about that. And I respect that so much, that somebody just want to swivel and activate because they know something needs doing. And so I'm very thankful for that. So, and like I said, I'm very proud of the platform that you guys created. I think that it's wonderful. It's important. It's needed. And I'm just very thankful to have been able to be a part of it.
Oh, see, that is so beautiful. All right, and with that being said, thank you once again. I'm Lady Bounce, and on behalf of A Slate, we out.
Peace.
Peace.